I never forget you for the suffer when you suffer for me. Sweet mother, I never forget you for the suffer when you. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome, and thanks for joining me on lesson number 5. Um, Before we get into it, I just want to give a shout out to Kate. She'll be traveling to Zimbabwe. I want to wish you a safe trip. Well, hope you have an awesome, wonderful time. I don't know if this is your first trip, but if it is, you're in for a very nice surprise. If it's not your first trip, I can absolutely understand why you're making another trip out there. But wish you all the best and have a safe trip. Now, in this lesson, we are going to focus mostly on useful phrases. I think in the previous lesson, we hammered completely, greetings, when to use them, how to use them, who to use them to, the different kind of greetings. I think we are absolute experts at that at this point. However, greetings are just part of the equation. After you've greeted the person, you're still going to need to communicate a little bit further after that. So today, I've kind of cheated. I printed it out. I didn't want to forget. So we're going to go through some phrases. I'll pick out just a few that probably need a little explanation to them. And the majority of them, I'll just post them at the end of the video. I'll have the Shona phrase or word, and I'll have the English translation at the bottom. So the first one I really want to, it's a word and it's also a phrase. It's excuse me, excuse me. You say pamsoroi, and you use that word for any kind of excuse me. If you want to ask somebody a question, pamsoroi, I want to ask you a question. If you want to get past and people are in the way, pamsoroi, you want people to get out of the way. So that's a very important one. It's very polite and it's very simple. So if you say pamsoroi, everybody's going to, know what you're talking about, and they'll give you a lot of respect for being respectful back to them. Another word or phrase is you want to introduce yourself. There's several ways of saying it. You can say Dinonzi, which is I am, or my name is Kate, or you can say Zitarangu Dini Kate, or Zitarangu Dini Stephen. My name is Stephen. My name is Kate. So it's a very good, way to introduce yourself. You can say Mangwanani, and people are like, okay, and then you're like Zitarangu Dini Kate. So now they know your name is Kate, and it's pretty impressive. You said it in Shona, Zitarangu Dini Kate, or Dinonzi Kate. I am Kate. Another very useful, phrase. So after you say Zitarangu Dini Kate and the person tells you their name, Zitarangu Dini Tulani. Okay, so now we know each other. And then you can say Dafara Nekuku Zirai. I'm happy to meet you. Pleasure knowing you. And my response will be Dafara Nekuku Ziva Wo Kate. So I'm going to say everything you said exactly the same, but I'm going to say wo. Wo is the equivalent to two. I'm happy to know you too. Pleasure meeting you too. Dafara Nebuziva wo. Okay? And if somebody says, Dafara Nebuziva Kate, you can say it too. Dafara Nebuziva wo. Good to know you too. One that I absolutely like is, now I said excuse me earlier, pamsoroi. Now remember, I've said this over and over, every word in Shona has two meanings. Pamsoroi, which means excuse me, like get out the way, excuse me, can I get your attention? It's very important to use pamsoroi just before you eat. So you sit at the table, you've been invited, you're a guest, and they put the food on the table, they've prayed, or and then it's time to eat. Before you start eating, you say pamsoroi. It's just very respectful. Excuse me, I'm about to eat your food. You're just kind of acknowledging the person who cooked the food. Pamsoroi, and then you start eating. If you do that, I promise you'll get a lot of brownie points. And another phrase, so you've met them, you've greeted them, you've told them it's a pleasure meeting you, and you've been invited to dinner, pamsoroi, you've eaten their food, and then when you're leaving, or when they're leaving, let me bring it back into perspective. If it's you who's leaving, you say, Mosara zvakanaka, or Sarai zvakanaka. Stay well, that's what it transliterates to. Stay well. And they'll say to you, datenda, thank you. Famba zvakanaka, go well. So now we've got it from mangwanani to maskati to manero to nonzi Kate. Oh man, you guys are going to be like reading the news in Shona in no time. So that's another very useful phrase. Another extremely important one. So if you go there and you're like, pamsoroi ndini Kate, or ndinonzi Kate, or zita rangu ndini Steven, somebody's gonna go, that's guys who do not tell Shona. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa. But you still want to speak to them in Shona. One thing is, you can say, handisi kunzwisisa, I don't understand. Handisi kunzwisisa, or you can say handisi kunyatso zwisisa. But if you want to keep it simple, you just say handisi kunzwisisa, I don't really understand. And then you can ask, if you want to be polite, do you speak Shona? Do you speak French? Do you speak German? So you can ask somebody, unotaura, do you speak? Unotaura Shona, here. Unotaura Chirungu, which is English, here. Unotaura Chijeremani, here. Do you speak German? Now, from previous lessons, remember I told you if you're addressing somebody older and somebody younger, there's a difference in the way you do it. If you're talking to someone older, remember it's always plural. If you talk to someone older or a group of people, it's always plural. Muno taura chirungu ere. If it's just one person, someone your age or someone younger, uno taura chirungu ere. So that's something I need you to like keep in mind all the time. And another important thing is you can say Chinoita Mari, which means how much is this? Chinoita Mari, you go, people are going to be selling things at the store, like out on the street and stuff like that. Anytime I go to Zimbabwe, that's why I almost always shop out on the street vendors. Pick something up. Chinoita Mari, how much is this? And then if they tell you a price, you must almost always say, chadura, it's too expensive. Well, that's one thing I learned when I went over there. Like people were trying to overcharge me for stuff, and I'd be like, oh, that's a good price, but now it's actually a little bit more expensive than it was supposed to be. So even if they give me a fair price, I'm like, chadura, it's expensive. So like I said, most of the words are very self-explanatory. You don't really need a backstory for most of them. So I'll just have them go up the screen at the end of this video. And then one thing I wanted to tell you too, in conjunction to understanding the different words and and phrases and stuff like that, there are also behaviors and mannerisms. Like, I don't know if you notice, I've got my hat off. If you're a man, if you're a guy, it's rude to wear your hat inside the house. I know when I went to Zimbabwe, I saw a lot of young people just with their hats indoors, but the proper way to do it, once you step into the house, you take your hat off. If you do that, I promise you will get just so much respect, so many brownie points. I think it's really, really awesome. And so, you just get in, just take your hat off, and, that's it. Women, you don't necessarily have to cover your head. You'll notice the older women doing it. If you want to do it, man, you'll get some serious points for it. But if you don't do it, you won't lose points either. So I don't want you to like, oh, I gotta cover my head and stuff. No, you don't necessarily have to. And you know, one cool little thing is when you're asking people, ladies, you go, "Kumaga simbere." It's just a little thing we do. You don't have to do it, but if you do it, you're gonna wow the people. So remember, back to our greetings. Mangwanani, mangwanani. Hey, kumaga simba. Girls do it this way. If you're a guy and you do it this way, they're gonna laugh at you. So don't do it that way. If you're a guy, you do it this way. Now the proper way to do it is you cup your hands a little bit and you make this sound. If you're a guy and you're planning on marrying a Zimbabwean girl, that's something you're definitely going to need to learn. But we're going to look at that in our advanced, exciting lessons later. So for today, enjoy the words as they come up. And next lesson, I'll take a clip of, you know, just day-to-day happening of people speaking in Shona, and then we will analyze it as we hear it, and we'll start picking up words. We'll use our vowels to understand those words. I hope it's going to be really exciting. So until we meet again, have a wonderful, wonderful time. Kate, have a safe trip. And Maskati, Tona na Mangwana. Take care. Bye.